And we're back.
Shalom Aleichem.
And we're back. Shalom, ziggity, Ari zigs.
What's going on? We steiging?
Baruch Hashem, bro.
Baruch
Hashem, how are you?
you?
No, I didn't get it yet. I didn't get it yet. So there's no Mazel Tov yet.
Oh my gosh. Not making
No,
a
we're
shechianu.
looking. I can't wait to make a shechianu. VVJ v'smachta. And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. Shiva Skula show. We are on Tav Nun Dalid Amud Beis. Yesterday we had a Moradik sugya, and we weren't sure, did we get pshat? But then we said, look, we're gonna go over it again, and we saw it with the Rashi, and we got pshat. And so coming off that, the Gemara continues. We're on the first long line in the Avodah Zarah Nun Dalid Amud Beis. The Gemara says, Ki Asa Rav Dimi Amar Rav Yochanan. When Rav Dimi came, he said in the name of Rav Yochanan. So Rav Dimi was one of the guys who was running back and forth from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. We saw that yesterday, and 2 days ago we saw when Ula came and he said in the name of Rav Yochanan, right? So now Rav Dimi comes and says in the name of Yochanan, he says, Abba Bisha Abram Mishtachava Karka Olam Lo Asra. So even though they said that someone who, like, if a non-Jew or a Jew, if someone bows down to like just the ground, Karka Olam over here. DVJ, you know where we see Karka Olam? When Tosfos talks about Karka Olam, when Tosfos asked the question, how is she allowed to save Am Yisrael? If it involved having sex with Achashverosh, so how could you save Am Yisrael? It's Gilei Arayos. You have to die rather than do it. So the Tosfos answer is no. She was Karka Olam. She was like the ground of the earth. She just laid there. Now I'm saying, like, Achashverosh had sex with all of the virgins or all of the girls in town, in his 127 things. And he picked his favorite one. And Esther was the best sex out of all of the girls in 127 countries. And she just laid there.
It's a good Shiloh.
I don't know. It's a Shiloh bet. Really, it's a Shiloh. Okay, but so that's what I think about when I think of Karka Olam. But here it's saying you dive into the ground of the earth. DVJ is thinking, like, listen, sometimes it's good if she just lays there. All right, DVJ, this is a sheer. I'm kidding.
There's way too much to say. I'm not even.
Whenever I want to say something inappropriate, I just say it. So DVJ is thinking. Ki Asar of DV says you dive into the ground of the earth. Low, it doesn't make the ground asr, but if you're chaver baboros ma'aros, it's asr. If you dig holes in the land, so that does make the land asr, and that's just like what we saw yesterday. That if you just bow down to someone else's animal, it doesn't do anything to the animal. But if you pour wine on its head, or you shecht it, or you slaughter it, so it's called, he did a maisa. When you do a maisa, so it's aser. Yo, we're short-handed today because we don't have shteigs. I don't know. You want to text him?
I'll text him.
All right. Okay. Chaber Bobaro says Rashi, La'avodas Gochavim Azra Aflahedjit. So if you do the Amaisa, So then the ground becomes forbidden even for a regular person to just use for chulin purposes. You're texting Schlegs, I'll text the Rebbetzin. She's upstairs. We're really shorthanded. We're missing two and missing the Rebbetzin. But it's more important that Schlegs comes. Because Schlegs has a mitzvah of Talmud Torah. And the Rebbetzin likes it, but she doesn't have a chiyuv. She's a girl. All right. Ki also Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda. So Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, he comes back from Eretz Yisrael and he's like, yo, I brought you guys a nice juicy shtickle Torah from Rabbi Yochanan. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. It says the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Abba Bisha Amru, even though they said, that they say that if you daven, you bow down to an animal, it doesn't make the animal azr. Asan chalipin lavim asran. If you switch it out for idolatry, it's azr. Zakraji. So it says lo asran. So usually, if you bow down to an animal, you don't make it azr. Oh no, yeah. But if you do chalifin, so what's chalifin? Achlifan bavoros gochavim. So you switch it out for an idolatrous animal. So what does that mean? Shahais the law avodos gochavim ve'echlifa lo ove gochavim bevehemto. So he had idolatry, and maybe he traded his idol for an animal. So that does make the animal usher for even a person to use. If you trade idolatry for an animal, it makes the animal usher. Ki usher Ravin, when Ravin came back from Eretz Yisrael, what did he have to say in the base medrash in Babylon? Amar pligu ba Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yossi v'Rabbanan. So there's a machlokes actually in this case between Rabbi Yishmael, son of Rabbi Yossi, and the Rabbanan. Chad amar chalipin azurin, chalipin mutarin. So one person says if you trade an animal for an idol, the animal's usher. But if you trade an animal for an idol and then trade, right? Let's say Reuven traded the Shimon as an animal for an idol, and then Shimon took that animal and traded it to Levi for another animal. It's called chalifin. Is mutter. And Chad Amar, one person says, Afilu chalifin nami asurin. Even chalifin is asur. Even if you trade the animal for an idol and then the animal for another animal, it's still asur. My time, demand Amar chalifin asurin. So what's the reason? What's the svara? The person who says that if you trade the animal twice, if you double trade the animal, it's usher. So, me and Ziggy Arizami, we made chalipshas the other day. The chalipshas, the stuffed cabbage was delicious. And then the next day it was even better. And the next day is even better. Right? It's like Khalifa, and you trade it. Right? Reminded me of it. So what's the reason that Khalifa will be Azar? Amar Krat says in Pasuk Vayizeh Cherem. Kamo. It says, don't bring a toeva to your house, and it will be a cherem like it, right? And you will be a cherem like it. Anything which comes from it, it's like it, right? Anything that comes from the animal, meaning you traded this animal and you traded again. If it comes from this idolatrous animal, it's like the idol. Khalifin. The iduch, and the one who says no, only the first trade is usher, but the second trade already is mutter. So what's his rationale? The iduch Amar Kra, it says in Bazuk, who? It says after Vayizah Kerem Gamo to Kerem like it says at the end of that Bazuk, Shaket Tishaktenu, it's disgusting, it's buggy. The Ta'av Ta'avdenu and hate it. Ki Kerem who, because it is Kerem. So it says who? It says Cherem who? Who the local Chalifin? It is Cherem, and so maybe something you traded directly for it is Cherem, but not the trading of the trade. Okay. And I gotta move in a chair. For some reason you need a chair today. Also a little bit different view in the bag. But and we're standing up. Let's go. But I still have to look up, so I have to sit up on my chair so I can see it in the light, but it's still more comfortable. Okay. The idach, and so the one who says Khalif, Khalifin is Aser. Is Aser. Doesn't he hold that it says Cherem who? Talk about specifically it. So how's he gonna learn the who? The idach hahu mibayle, we need the who. V'me'ute orla v'klaya karem. To exclude orla and klaya karem. DVJ, you know what orla is?
Isn't that like what you leave off as charity or no?
Orla, first of all, very good. I thought you were going to say foreskin.
By the
'cause
way,
it
I was
also-
thinking that was my first thought, and then I was like,
I once saw an Israeli grape juice bottle, and it says there's no chashash of orla, and no concern of foreskin. I'm telling you, crazy. Okay, so now
I'm way off.
What?
I'm way off.
No, you're much closer than what I thought. I thought you were going to say foreskin.
Oh,
So it is fruit that we cannot eat, but I don't know if it goes to charity. I think we just leave it the first 3 years on the tree.
got it.
So to exclude orla and klaya you know what kalayim is, right? When you plant different species right next to each other. So there's regular kalayim if you plant, let's say, an apple tree right next to an orange tree or something. But the laws of regular kalayim are not as stringent as the laws of kalayim when it has to do with grapes. When it's in a vineyard, we're even more stringent. She'im machran, if you sell orla and klaya karem, v'kidesh b'dameim. So you sold these things. You're not really allowed to sell because it's is it asar hana? But maybe it's asar hana, and you can't sell these things. But if you sell it, and you're mikadesh b'dameim, maybe you buy an animal that you bought with its money. It's mikudeshes. And so you might think that, wait a second, but what about like trading the animal, the idolatrous animal, trading the animal for an idol, trading the animal for an animal? You're telling me that this guy holds that no matter how many times you trade it, it's still usher, traded for animal. What does that guy do with the word who? Specifically, it is cherem, it is forbidden, it is ostracized. And so that's coming to teach us, says the Gemara, that even though orla and klaya karem are usher to eat, if you sell them and you're mekadesh an animal with the money, it is mikudeshes. Now, very interesting. Orla klei karim, like we're talking about Avodah Zarah in the pasuk. Why all of a sudden are they bringing in Orla and klei karim? It's a little bit from left field, you know. The idoch, and so the one who says that no, that only one trade is usher, but not the trade of idolatry. So Orla klei karim lo tzrichim meute. He says we don't need a special pasuk, a special gezeres hakasov. A gezeres hakasov is like when the Torah says what the din is. We don't need a special decree from the verse to teach me that if you sell Orla and klei karim, and then you buy an animal with it and you sanctify it, that the sanctification is good. I don't need a pasuk telling me that. Why? I don't need a pasuk. Why would I think that it's not? It's not Asher Behana or Len Klei Karen. Right? It's not Asher Behana. I didn't think it was. But I just think like why else would we need a pasuk? So the Man Amar who says that Chalifin is Asher and Chalifin is Mutter, he doesn't need a pasuk for Klei Karen. If he eat the chorle of Klei Karen, lo tzricha meudei da havilu avodas gochavim v'shvias, because you already have. Why don't you need a pasuk, DVJ? This is an amazing thing. Why don't you need a pasuk? Because you already have the pasuk talking to us about idolatry and shvias and the sabbatical year. That's shnei ksuvim habayim ke'echad, right? That's two psukim that are coming to teach one thing, and so from the right that you can't use that even if you trade it for one thing, it's usher, right? It's usher, and what you get directly for it is usher. So we learned that about Shvi'is, about the fruit that's grown in the 7th year of the Shemitah cycle. And we learned that by idolatry. And DVJ, the Pasuk teaches us this specifically in two cases. If the Pasuk only teaches me in one case, so then I'll learn out all the similar cases from that. But if the Pasuk teaches me the exact same din in two cases, so we say, well, why didn't we just learn out from one case into all the other cases? It must be that it's those two specific cases and not anything else similar. It's called shteig ksuv mabam ke'echad. Because shteig ksuv mabam ke'echad ein melamdin. So all two psukim that come and teach us that the same din applies to these two similar halachas, they don't learn to other laws. So avodas gochavim ad amran. So the idolatry, that's what we learn. You learn that cheremu, right? It's cherem. What you trade for it is cherem. But if you do a second trade, it's already too far. It's too far. So that's what we learned about Avodah Zarah. But where did we learn it by Shvi'is? This year is brought to you by Holy Juices. And we are learning in the schos of our captured family. Shvi'is says, Ki Yovel he, it is Yovel, Kodesh Yelachem. It will be Kodesh for you. It will be holy for you. Ma Kodesh Tofes as Damav the Aser of Shvi'is Tofes as Dameh of the Azura. So Kodesh, it catches the money and it's Azur. So those do Shvi'is. It catches its money and is therefore Azur. Now Tofeses as Dameh is a question. What does that mean? Tofeses as Dameh. It catches the money and it makes like. So what I can think of is the case as follows. if you have a kodesh animal that's going to bring for a korban, and it gets injured, so you have to redeem it onto cash. But when you redeem it onto cash, you still can't use that animal. It gets redeemed onto the cash, but the animal is usher. So meaning you're switching it into money, or let's say you just don't want to bring this one, you could always switch it into money with a little penalty. So too, shvius, if something happens, you have to, if you sell, let's say you sell shvius, thing, it makes them, it catches the money, and now has kedusha shvius. And yeah, you can only use the money to buy more shvius, I think. Ima kodesh tofes es damav v'yotze l'chulin av shvius tofes es damev v'yotze l'chulin. But wait a second. By kodesh, if you trade it in for money, so the animal actually becomes chulin. The animal does not stay kodesh. So say that the same thing happens to shvius. Tamalomar says tiyeh. The pasuk says kodesh tiyeh lachem. It will be behaviyasa tiyeh. It is as it is. So haketzad. So how does it work? Lagach berosh shvius. Lagach berosh shvius basar. Right. So you trade your shvius fruit for a steak. Elu ve'elu shvius. Lagach shvius berosh shvius basar. You buy a steak. You buy steak with it. Elu ve'elu is arvin b'shvius. They both misbarim b'shvius. You can't eat them. You can't eat them, or you can't destroy them, or you have to destroy them at the end of shvius. Beer. DVJ, you know about beer chametz. Ziggy Arizalman knows about beer chametz. There's another type of beer that we get rid of the shvius fruit. And we get rid of not only the shvius fruit, do we have to get rid of? I forget exactly when we get rid of it, but when the time comes to burn the shvius fruit, like before, like bikurim, I don't know. We gotta do a little chazar on this. But whenever the time is that you're burning the shvius fruit, guess what else we're burning? The steak that you traded with the shvius fruit. Lagach b'basar dagim. So the shvius, the shvius fruit is always going to be shvius. You can't take the shvius away from it. But if you traded the shvius for meat, then it's bigger the meat. What if you then go and trade the meat for fish? So the meat now is usable, is permissible, but the fish becomes shvius. There's dagim b'dagim. B'dagim yayin. You trade the fish for wine. Yatzu dagim nichnas yayin. The fish is now permissible, and the wine is only the last thing on the line. It's the shvius fruit itself that has to be burned, and it's the last thing in the trading cycle. Yayin yatzu dagim is yayin. Yayin shemen. You trade the wine for oil. Yatzu yayin nichnas shemen. The wine goes out, it's permissible, and the oil is now other. Okay, that has his worth. Agaron nitbas b'shvius. So the last thing that you trade, that in the trading mahalach is The last thing is aser. The briatzmo aser, and the tree itself is aser. So this was all to explain the opinion of the guy who says it's only one thing. It's only one trade that's aser if you trade the animal for an idol or an idolatrous animal for any Avodah Zarah. And so he says, well, we don't need a pasuk to tell us Orla and Klei Kerem, because Orla and Klei Kerem, it's already a Trek Sivim, but Trek Sivim Ban Keachad, two psukim telling us the exact same halacha, and that means that any other similar case doesn't have that same thing. Therefore, if you trade your Orla or Klei Kerem for a steak, you could already just eat that steak. But what about the other guy? The guy who says it's completely usher, and it's usher the thing that you traded first and second and third and etc. Right? Because he learns the pasuk kamo, v'yizachem kamo, that everything that you trade is like it. So how is he going to explain? Right? Why do I need another pasuk telling me Orla and Klei Kerem? I have two straight Sivim Ban Keachad. I have two psukim coming teach me the exact same thing that are similar to Orla and Klei Kerem. So I would think that Orla and Klei Kerem, I wouldn't need a gzeir because of telling me that it's aser. So he says like this: so he holds that if two psukim come as one, they can still learn out. They can still learn out to the other thing, and therefore he needs the pasuk. So, on the end of the day, the machlokas between those two opinions of in Avodah Zarah is how many times did you trade Avodah Zarah that it wouldn't be mutter anymore? One guy says trade it one, second time is mutter. The other guy says it's never mutter, and it comes out that their whole machlokas is do you darish and trade kisuva bam ke'echad? Okay, it's really amazing how they really just learn these psukim and everything makes sense. And they go, what about this guy? What about that guy? What about this guy? Okay. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, right now it's just gentlemen because the babyster may be sleeping.
Let's see the Rashi.
Let's get the Rashi. But we got to the end of the Mishnah, end of the Gemara. We're about to start a new Mishnah. Is it Tig over Hig? Okay, Givaldic. So this Cherem who? It's Cherem, right? So he's saying no. Right? It's saying it's Cherem who? It's Cherem, and you trade for it as Cherem, but not two trades, right? Not two trades. And the other guy says, no, we need that. We need that who? That it's Cherem. We can't learn that as talking about a halacha for Avodah Zarah. We need that to tell us that if you trade Orla or Klei Kerem for a steak, you can eat that steak. So why do we need to exclude Orla? Okay, it's a long Rashi now. V'achi mashma hu tofes es damav. To the Amran, kol shat the miyeh, right? That it catches the money, trading for money, catches the money. That's with Avodah Zarah. But Orla, who azura b'kol makom. Orla's azur at every place. Aval dameh eino tofes es la'asran. But if you trade it for money or if you trade it for a nice steak, it does not transfer over. The Israel transfer over. Aval gav, even though you azur. So comes Rashi and answers this question that we were wondering about. Even though Orla is indeed Asr B'Hana, Miu Ahi Ana Matila Al Yedei Orla, Ava Iu Lo Me Orla Kamatila. That's talking about you can't get benefit from the Orla itself. But if you trade it, it's not really getting benefit from the Orla itself. V'davka kiddusha isha, specifically kiddushin for a girl, aval is hanoi minayu midirabanan azer. It says you can't be mekadesh a girl with orla. You know, you can't be mekadesh a girl with foreskin. Why not? I don't know. I thought Bia was a mutter type of kiddushin. So why not? Because you can't get any hana from. Oh man, my beard is
from it.
Uchi. What?
You can't get any hana from the
From the orla.
from the orla.
Itself. Exactly. And then even their abanan though, and then they say, oh yeah, but by the way, Kamatila. But it's not from Orla when you trade the Orla. Okay, that's very interesting. Because something that's Azerbaijan now, like chametz, you can't trade your chametz. Well, I mean, maybe you can't trade your chametz. It's still Azer, but it doesn't take on the Isser. It's not like if you trade Orla. If you trade Orla, it's probably still Azer to get enough from it. But it doesn't infect whatever you trade for it. That's only by idolatry and by shvias. So the other guy says, no, I don't need a pasuk. I don't need a gzeres of. I don't need kicherim who in that pasuk to come and tell me that orla and klayakarim, if you trade it, whatever you traded for it, you can use and eat. Oh God, I think I'm bleeding. I think I itched. And maybe like it's a pimple or something. Oh yeah, look, I'm learning Torah so hard that the yid is gushing blood. Yo, if there's anyone shibud watching this, I hope you're really thirsty. You should get this blood. Adrenochrome stays here. So if those demand be an ababizain asurin bekomakum jain. So that something what you trade for it that the usher goat carries over, that's two psuk and bamkecha. That only applies in one Avodah Zarah, two shvias. Hadarma by Yisachem Gamo, that Bicharem like it, right? And so that, oh my God, bro, I'm like, no, whatever. So we learned that if you the thing that you trade for it is Aster for Avodah Zarah, that's the puzzle we saw. But what about Kiddush? What about Shvias? So we go to the puzzle where Shvias, and then we said Kodesh Tofes is dumb of Dichziv Vipada Berkecha. You have to, if you have a korban and you're like, oh wait, I wanted to actually eat this now for Chulin, so you can transfer the Kedusha onto money. And then it goes out to Chulin, right? It's called Erechin, right? You put there for how much it is. So it's compared to Kodesh, just like Kodesh could be transferred over. So too, the Shvias fruit, if you barter with the Shvias fruit, whatever you barter it for becomes Azer. So it says, well, maybe also the Shvias will go to Chulin, just like the Kodesh goes to Chulin after you redeem the worth of the animal onto money or onto fruit for that matter. But it says no, because it says Kodesh Tiyeh Lachem. Tiyeh means it's Tiyeh. Bev Yasan Tiyeh. It stays in its status quo. It stays in its What does that mean? It stays in the status quo. The kedusha of Shvius remains. So if you buy with Peros Shvius and you buy meat, both of them are misbarin b'Shvius, and we weren't 1,000,000% sure. It's your Rashi says misbarin. So misbarin doesn't mean like you destroy it. It means ne'achalim kodim avir. You eat from it before you eat everything before you have to destroy it. Kodem sheyichla l'chayim min hasadeh. Before there's no more for the animal in the field. Also, I mean shemachar. So that right, like the apple tree is going to be gone to. We have to eat all the apples, and if not, you gotta burn the apples. So also, if you traded a Shvi's apple for a steak, you'd also have to eat the steak. You trade the steak for fish. The steak goes out and the fish come in. The kuliyai low toughest. It doesn't take down everything that you trade. It doesn't take down its whole lineage. It's just the last thing and the fruit itself. Upriyadzmo, Shvi'ez, Shemach Rishon, the first fruit that was traded, so that's always Azar. Okay. We got to the Mishnah. Shkayach. Torah Hashem Temima. Torah Hashem Temima. Torah Hashem Temima. Meshivas Na'afel. Torah Hashem Temima. Torah Hashem Temima. Torah Hashem Temima. Meshivas Na'afel.
We got about 8 minutes, Rabbi.
8 minutes left. Here. Let us see the Heliga Mishnah. Shalu as a Canaan Baromi. Very good. Talking about Rome over here. They asked the elders in Rome. Probably a bunch of Satanist, pedophile, heliocentrists, if you ask me. They ask the elders in Rome, Im ein ritzono be'avodas gochavim lama eino mevatla. Oh wow! Wow! Again, we know that Rome is Shivud. We know that they're pagans, right?
Yes.
But we know also that they pretend that they're Christians, that they're Catholics, right? The Catholic means it doesn't have nothing to do with Christianity, but the Catholics in Rome, they pretend that they're Christians, right?
Yes.
So the Eden asked the elders in Rome over there. They said, "Well, if you guys don't want idolatry anymore, then why don't you just mevatel it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, go to the Vatican. There's all different types of idols. Why don't you just cancel it? If you don't want it to be, if you guys aren't idolaters anymore, then why don't you cancel all your idols?" Amru lahen, the elders in Rome said to them, "Ilu ledavar she'ein tzarich la'olam bo ayu ovdin aya mivadlo." Harein ovdin l'cham levana k'cham mezalos yebada olam mipnei hashotim. They're saying like this. If it was something, if this idol was something that the world doesn't need, if that's what they were worshiping, we're worshiping something the world doesn't need, we would have been mevatel it. But you know, what are they worship? What are we worshiping? The sun, right? The heliocentric, the sun worshippers, Mithros, and the moon and the stars and the constellations. If we cancel those, then the world would be destroyed. Because of the idiots that went and canceled it, maybe. Amru lahen. So the Israelites said to the Romans, Av anu machzikin im ken yebad davar she'ein zarach olam bo v'yeniach zarach olam bo. So the Jews said to the sheep of the Romans, they said, all right, wise guys, leave the sun and the moon and the stars. The world needs that stuff. But we see you have all these ridiculous idols, these statues. Get rid of those if you're really so not idolatrous, right?
Right.
So they said, Amrulahan, they answered the Jews, they said, Av anu machzikin yidei of dem shal elu, sha'omrim tedu, she'en elohos, sha'arei ein lo batu. So what this is this, we're strengthening the hands of their worshipers, of the idols, which are not really idols even. Like they're not really, the world doesn't need them. They're just a bunch of statues that have no power, eyes, but they can't see, ears, but they can't hear. She'omrim, that they say, Tedu, Shem Elohus, I'll prove that they're gods because they were never mevatel, they were never canceled. One Rashi on this Mishnah. And we're back.
And we're back. Bro, I got thrown off by daylight savings time.
What?
So the link said 12 p.m. I got thrown off by daylight savings time because the link said 12 p.m. So I thought it was at 10.
They got us again.
They got us. But I came into the catch the last 4 minutes.
Baruch Hashem. So we finished the Gemara. We started another Mishnah. In this Mishnah, the rabbis are asking the elders of Rome, like, oh, really, you guys are not idolaters anymore? Then why don't you just cancel the idols? Right? So they're like, why are we going to cancel the sun, the moon, the stars? That's what we're really davening to. They say, okay, then cancel. So leave those and at least cancel, your stupid statues. They say, no, we're keeping the statues around because people are worshiping these statues, these crosses, right? People are worshiping these getchkas, and they think that it's still a god. They think that it's really God because look, it hasn't been mevatel yet. So says Rashi, Avanu machzikin yedayim shel elu ovdim l'chal levana. We're still helping. We're still helping. We're strengthening the hands of those that worship the sun and the moon. Imayinu roim sheshar avodas kochavim charevos be'atzman ve'elu kayamos hayinu modim le'elu. So if we saw that all of the other idols, they destroyed, they were all destroyed, but there's still a sun and the moon, we would go back to worshiping the sun and the moon. Because really we know that like they're worshiping the heliocentric, that's heliocentrism. Everything they teach in school about the globe around the sun, it's all sun worship. And so that's what they're really worshiping. This Rashi is a little tough.
We got 2 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to start the Gemara again tomorrow. By the way, you guys, 18 shiurim in a row.
Unbelievable.
18 shiurim in a row. This is already the 4th week that we've done shiur every night. In the schus of our captive family. In the schus of our captive family to go free. We're learning the Heilige Torah so sweet. We're steiging and we're playing on the mandolin. And we're gonna destroy all of our enemies and win. Am Yisrael Chai, everyone knows. Hashem is not in the sky, he's wearing our clothes. We are all Chelek Eloha, and we come from Mimam. And so we'll tell the other part of us that's perfect. In this, we'll say, "Hey, Abishter, we wanna see our family freed immediately. Why isn't the Israel government freed them yet? What the heck is going on? Why haven't the army went in there and absolutely stomped? We have to hope that they're doing undercover missions to save our family before they absolutely destroy all our enemies. But also, we don't know who's calling the shots in Israel. Today, we learned about Avodah Zarah, just like every day. We learned about trading an idol for an idol that it's usher, and then trading an animal is worship for idolatry, an animal is worship for idolatry. The second one is usher, and it's about Lokas. Does it go on forever, or does it only